Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Happy Martin Luther King Day to those of you who are off today. And for those of you who still have to go into work, happy Monday to you anyway. And happy Martin Luther King Day to you as well. So, this morning, we are going to be talking about the kettle. This is that personality type that tends to hold things in. They are keeping it tight, close to the gird, because they do not want to say things they don't mean, or they want someone maybe to already know what they're thinking. All kind of reasons that people hold things in. Sometimes you can call this person, you may even call this person an introvert. They often don't say or talk about their feelings or their emotions very, very much. This is that person that can be difficult to communicate with often because we don't know what they're thinking. We don't know when they're upset. We may not know even when they're happy. We don't know when they're bothered by something or when they're irritated. And that can be a very difficult person to communicate with when we're not understanding, when we don't know when someone is upset. And then once they blow, once they reach their boiling point, and get to a place where they just can't take it anymore, it can be we can be taken back by their behavior or by their words or by their actions or their yelling or whatever their reactions are at the time. So it can catch us off guard because we didn't expect it, because we had no idea, right? So this is that type of person that we're talking about this morning. And when they blow, we don't even know how to respond because we weren't expecting it. It can catch us off guard. So that's the tongue type that we will be discussing this morning, is that kettle, that person that holds things in. Now, so many of us really have been guilty of this at some point because we're trying to ignore it. Right? We may be trying to ignore it. We may be trying to move past it. We may even think that we've gotten over it or we're trying to get over it. Or sometimes we're just trying to spare people's feelings because we care about them and maybe we don't want to hurt their feelings, or we don't want them to think a certain thing about us. There's all kind of reasons that we hold things in. And other times we just want to keep the peace. We're like, is it really worth it? Let's just keep peace and move on, especially if it's someone that you may not even have to see that often. You'll be like, oh, let's just get through this time period and then we'll move on with the day or throughout the visit, whatever it is. So there's all kind of reasons that we hold on to things when we want to keep peace. But after a while, if it continues and things progress and it happens more and more often, we will find ourselves getting more intolerant of it. We can get impatient with it. We can get frustrated by it. And the next thing we know, we have reached our boiling point with it and we go off on someone. We're ready to set it off on the person because we've just had enough. And next thing you know, we're yelling, we're screaming, we're crying. We may be using words that we don't normally use. We may be saying things that we normally wouldn't say to the person, or things that we don't necessarily even mean sometimes. So there's all kinds of reasons that we will hold things in, that it's not good to hold things in. Good morning, Shay's Journey. How are you? Good to see you. Happy Martin Luther King Day to you. I'm still up early on my off day. So it's all good. It's all good. So yes, you agree. Yeah. So it's not good to hold things in. And first, our health experts tell us all the time that, when we hold things in, it causes stress, right? It causes that mental anguish, mental, physical, emotional, all of that. And over time, when we deal with that for long periods of time, we find ourselves on high blood pressure medication, right? Dealing with high blood pressure, and dealing with anxiety, all sorts of things. And it can eventually cause us to have a heart attack, a stroke, or just put us at risk for all kinds of things. So it's not good to hold things in. We really need to get to a space where we can talk about what we need to say in a way that we need to say it. So this morning, I'll talk about some of the reasons that we need to let off the steam, and then talk about, if you are the person receiving the steam from somebody, how we can respond to it. So that's what we'll be talking about this morning. So one of the first reasons that it's important to let off steam is because, number one, it's exhausting to hold it in. I don't know about you, but when I am frustrated and tired. Good morning, Jazzy TV. Welcome in. Welcome in. Good morning. Good to see you. We're talking about the kettle, that introvert, that person that likes to hold things in until they blow because they've had enough. So that's what we're chatting about this morning. So yeah, number one, it's exhausting to have to hold things in. When I am upset or frustrated about something, or I wish something was different, and I'm holding on to that negative, angry energy, it is, it's draining because it's constantly, going on in my mind. I'm constantly frustrated by it. And I feel that angry energy just sort of bubbling up in my spirit. And so I hold on to it to the point where I can sort of process it, but then the next part of that energy is being spent trying to figure out how I can talk to this person about it, because I don't want to hold on to it. And I know that our relationship is not going to be what it needs to be if I don't feel like I can say the things that I need to say. So it's really important that you get to a space where you can talk about it, so that it's not exhausting to you, so that it's not mentally, physically, and emotionally draining to your spirit. And we can, be happy and healthy. So if something is going to be detrimental for my health just because I'm holding on to it, and all I need to do is speak it and let it out, well, then that's what I need to do. That's what I need to do. The other dangerous thing about, holding on to things is that it causes us to make assumptions about stuff that may not always be accurate. When we don't talk to people about what we're feeling or why they did what they did, we can assume that they did it for different reasons than they did. We can assume that they did it intentionally, and they may not have. We can assume that they're thinking something that they weren't thinking at all. And we can assume even how they will respond to something. Like, we'll stress about, well, if I tell them, then they may respond this way, or if I say this, then I may have to deal with that. And because we're so nervous or anxious about what we may have to deal with, we don't say it. So that is something that's very dangerous. We don't want to make assumptions about what a person is feeling or thinking or saying or what they might do. We want to talk about it. We want to open our mouths and say, hey, because we could be totally wrong. So ask questions. What made you say that? Or what made you do that? Or what were your intentions behind what you said? We often get angry because we don't know the full story. So if we just open our mouths often and just ask, hey, why, what were your intentions when you said that? Or what did you mean by that? We might be surprised at what we get, that the answer that we get, and it may not be what we thought it originally was. So, or maybe they had some reasons outside of what we would have thought of as to why they said what they said or did what they did. So either way, we don't know. We won't know unless we ask. And the worst thing to do is to make assumptions and, get angry about it, hold it in, and then, we go on and we're the one mad, and the other person is still going on about their life, going on about their day, not even thinking twice about it. And we're sitting up holding this negative energy inside of us. So the third thing is knowing that you will eventually at some point come to a boiling point. And you don't want that to happen, because that can be dangerous to the relationship. When we get to a point where we can't control it anymore, where we get so mad about it, so angry about it, so frustrated, we lose control. We lose control of our emotions, and we lose control of what we're feeling. Good morning. Thanks. How are you this morning? Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Martin Luther King Day to you. I hope you are off enjoying this wonderful day. So yeah, we can find ourselves saying and doing things that we will regret. And the other thing is that we mislead others into thinking that we're not bothered by something when we really are. And that causes us to lose our trust and lose integrity because we're not being honest. We're not being honest about how we feel. We're not being honest about what we're feeling. So we really have to talk to people and let off the steam. So speak up with what you're feeling. Let that steam off a little bit at a time so that you don't blow. The other thing is that other people around may fall victim to our steam, and they're innocent bystanders. So when we get to that point where we're losing control, let's say there's other kids in the room, or maybe you have coworkers or other family members or people who really aren't even involved in the situation, but because we're so mad and we've reached our boiling point and we can't control it anymore, boom, we just go off, and everyone in the room has to deal with the wrath, and that is not always fair to them because they are innocent bystanders and they don't deserve it. And then we lose our reputation. People will look at us differently and begin to wonder, like, whoa, where did that come from? And who is that person? And we don't want to risk that, right? Our reputation is everything. Who we are, the way we present ourselves, how we see ourselves and how other people see us. It's all very important. Good morning, Cullen. How are you? Happy MLK Day as well to you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome in. I appreciate y'all being up this early in the morning. I don't know if all of you have to go to work or not, but I'm off today, but I'm still up doing this. So thank y'all for being here. I appreciate it. There's all sorts of reasons that we want to make sure that we don't that we need to say the things that we need to say. We need to talk about what we're feeling. The other thing is self-shaming. When I don't speak up for myself, when I don't say the things that I need to say, when I don't talk about what I'm feeling, when I don't let people know that what they did offended me, or they made me feel a certain kind of way when they said something or did something, then I begin to do that sort of self-shaming thing. Like, why didn't you speak up for yourself? Why didn't you say what you need to say? That irritates you. That bothers you. You don't like that, right? But because you don't say anything, you start to beat yourself up about it. And next thing you know, you feel powerless, you feel ashamed, you feel weak. And then you get angry with yourself. You may even move into a state of depression. And that's not what we want to do. That's not how we want to be, because that can also begin to cause self-destructive behaviors. Those things, we can fall into whatever our addictions may be, all that kind of stuff, all because we didn't speak up for ourselves. And it's not worth it. It's not worth it. So say what you need to say. Say what you need to say. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with speaking up for yourself. And most of the time, we just have to focus on how we want to say it so that it's received. So I will typically take the time to calm myself down and say, okay, what is it that I'm feeling? Why is it that I'm feeling this way? And then what can I say about it? What can I say about it? What can I tell the person? What can I ask the person? So that way, when I approach the person about it, I know that I'm going into it intentionally and I'm not just reacting based upon my emotions about it. So that tends to help me keep my focus in the conversation. Once I calm down, once I kind of calm myself down a little bit, process what I'm feeling, think about it, and then I can go to the person and say, okay, I'm upset for this reason. This is how it made me feel. This is what it caused me to think. And that's what I'll go to the person and say. I'll be like, hey, why, I may ask them, what did you mean by what you said? And well, when you said that, it made me think this. And, I don't want to assume that is what you meant by it. So is that what and I'll ask them, is that what you meant by it? Or was there some other meaning behind what you said? So, that's just one way to approach the conversation so that you can speak up for yourself, and you can feel like, okay, now I know, and I don't have to be frustrated in my mind about it all day, wondering why they said what they said or did what they did. So those are just some different things that you can do. So how do we respond to the blow? What if we're the receiver of these people who, go off on you? How do we respond to it when we had no idea, when we're caught off guard by it, when we are blown away by what they've said, and we're like, what on earth? Where is this coming from? Right. So that's where we're going next. So the first thing we want to do is pay attention. Try to pay attention. I find that kettles tend to get very quiet first. They tend to get very quiet. So even if they're not a very talkative person, sometimes they may just be a little more distant. Sometimes if you pay attention, their actions get a little bit different. Their hand gestures, their movement, they may do things more abruptly. They may, start slamming things or forcefully, putting things somewhere. They tend to get real quiet. They tend to get real distant. Their answers tend to get a little more sharper. Their tones change in their voice when they are speaking. Those are things that we can try to pick up on, those cues, like, hey, are you all right? Is something bothering you? Go ahead and ask them and give them the opportunity to let some of that steam off, rather than just continuing on and ignoring them and acting like, like nothing is going on. Talk to them and say, hey, are you all right? I sense that you're upset about something, or I'm feeling some, something from you, whatever it is you're feeling. Let them know, give them the opportunity. If they say it's nothing, just say, okay, but just let them know, hey, well, I'm here if you need to talk something, if you need to say something, if you need to talk to me, whatever it is, just let them know, so that they can have the opportunity and know that they can say something if they need to. Validate their feelings. Validate their feelings. One of the biggest mistakes we make is when someone tells us that they're upset about something, we begin to say, hey, like, why? Well, that's ridiculous. You shouldn't feel that way, or that, we don't acknowledge their feelings. So we need to allow people to feel what they feel. People have a right to feel what they feel, whether we agree with it or not. We can think that they're completely off base about what they're feeling, but go ahead and allow them to feel what they're feeling and say, I understand that you're feeling this way. Maybe I see why you're feeling this way, or I don't understand why you feel that way, but I accept that's your response and that's what you're feeling. Take ownership for what you did. If you're the person that's causing them to be upset, I did do this, or I did say that, and I apologize if it made you feel this way, or it was not my intention to make you feel this way. So it may not necessarily even need an apology, but go ahead and let them know that it was not my intention to make you feel however it is that you're feeling. So, but don't disagree with them. Don't undermine their emotions, and don't defend yourself, in the sense of, well, I only did this because you said that, or I only, said that because you said this. So try not to or put it back on them. That sort of moves into a narcissist type of behavior, and we don't want to do that. So acknowledge what they're feeling. Take ownership of what you did, and let them know your intentions and what your intentions were. So I understand that my saying this or doing this made you feel this way. So, and just that much acknowledgement alone will cause them to calm down a lot of times. But when we immediately come at them with, well, that's ridiculous, or you shouldn't feel that way, then the person will get more angry, because now you're not accepting what they're saying. And just accepting what a person is saying is just validation. It tends to calm people down. So stay calm and give them space. Allow them to release what they're feeling. Don't interrupt them, because you might get burned. If we stop them in mid-sentence and don't hear them fully out, then, boom, we may get more and more anger, more and more steam. So, and let people say what they need to say. And I'll ask them, did you say everything that you wanted to say? Did you get everything off your chest? Is that everything you wanted me to know? Is there anything else? Right. So I'll let them know, hey, this is the time to tell me everything that you wanted to tell me. What are you upset about? So that way, because I'll let them know, I don't want you holding anything in. I don't want you not saying everything that you need to say. Is this the extent of it? Because sometimes people will tell you part of it, but they won't tell you the whole thing. And so if you're not getting down to the root of it, then there's still going to be that tension and frustration. So I'll let people know and give people opportunity. Have you said everything you wanted to say? Is this the extent of it? Is there more? So those are things that I will ask about what they're doing. So once that steam has been let off, then often people are more approachable. It's better. It's a better time to have the conversation and tell them, thank you for letting me know that. Thank you for telling me this. I hate that you felt that it had to get to this point in order for you to talk to me about this, but thank you for letting me know, because now we can deal with it. Now we can address it, right? So, and that helps people. Ask and respond. How long have you been feeling this way? I'll start, that's often how I'll start the conversation. How long have you been feeling this way? Why were you holding this in so long? What were your expectations of me? Because often people get upset with us because they had expectations of us that we didn't even know they had. So, that is no reason to be upset. So ask the person, why were you feeling, what were you expecting of me that you didn't receive that is causing you to be this upset? Because that's very enlightening when we find out that people, well, I thought you would have done this, or I thought you were going to say that, or I was expecting you to do this. And then we can say, oh, okay, well, I had no idea. I had no idea you were expecting that. Or that's not, or we may even let them know, well, that's not something that I do. That's not even something that, I would normally do. So they, now we're learning each other. We're teaching the other person about who we are and the type of person that we are. So ask, what were your expectations? What were you hoping would change? What were you expecting me to do differently? So that way we can be educated on what their thoughts were. And then we can let them know my intentions were this, and it was never that. My intentions were always to do this, and never to do that, or to never be this way. So if something that I'm doing is bothering you, this is how I like to be approached. So that's another thing that I'll also do, instead of allowing people to, get so upset that they blow off steam. Well, I don't respond well to that, me personally. Others of you that may be fine for you, but it doesn't work for me. So I'll tell people, I'm glad that we had this conversation. I'm glad that you spoke up. I hate that it had to be at this level, or that it had to get to this point. But anytime you need to talk to me, come talk with me, sit down with me, whatever. Let me know what you're feeling. Don't wait until you get this frustrated or this upset about something, because the more we talk about it, the more we can do something about it. But if you wait until you get mad and angry about it, and we may not even have had to have gotten to this point had we sat down and talked about it, because I would have been able to talk with you, and you would not have had expectations that I was never going to meet for you, right? I was never going to meet those expectations because that's just not who I am, right? So there's all kinds of things, all kind of conversations that we can have to sort of calm these kettle people down. And then once we do that, agree to make a commitment. This is such a critical part in the conversation. When a person lets off steam, or when you're the person receiving steam, and you sit down and you talk about that, you have this argument. If it turns into an argument, you calm down, you get to a space where you can sort of talk about it. Before the conversation is over, before you all leave and go your separate ways, let them know, make a commitment on what you're willing to do moving forward. Right? This is and get a commitment from them. Say, I don't want this to happen again. I don't want us to get to this point again where you're frustrated or I'm frustrated and we're having this, knockdown, drag out argument. And because this is not healthy for our relationship. And I want to stay in good relationship with you because I love you, because I care about you, because you're my, whatever they are to you, my family member, my friend, my whatever. So from here forward, if there's something you're feeling, then come to me. Come to me and let me know. Don't get to a point where you're frustrated and angry, or let them know let them know that you're going to go to them. I'm going to come to you and I'm going to let you know what I'm feeling, because I don't want to get to a point where I'm so mad that we can't talk and you don't even know why I'm mad at you. You don't know why I'm mad at you. So, because it's not fair to the person. It's not fair to the person. It's not good for the relationship. So make a commitment to each other. I'm going to say this, or let's make a commitment that if we're feeling something, that if we've done something to upset each other or offend each other, or irritate each other, whatever it is, that we get to a place that we're going to let each other know. And so that way it can be received well, because now we have this commitment to do this. And so people are more in a space to listen, because we've already made a commitment that when something's bothering us, that we can approach each other about it. And then we'll talk about it, rather than ignoring it, rather than letting it build up, rather than just trying to keep peace, because we're really not keeping peace. We're not keeping peace if we're angry about it. So we need to talk about it. We need to release it, and prevent these blow up, boiling point types of conversations. So that is pretty much all I have for you this morning on the kettle. I hope I gave you something that you can use, or a different thought about how you can approach the conversation, some different things that you can say to ease the tension and make the conversation more approachable. So good to see you all this morning. I'm going to say a quick prayer. If there are no questions, great encouragement, much needed. Thank you, Shay. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. And Jazzy TV, good to see you again too. Cullen, I appreciate all of you being here this morning. And I'll say a quick prayer and then I'm going to head out. All right. Father, thank you, Lord, for this day. Thank you for watching over us. Father, we just ask that you give us the strength, give us the willpower to speak up for ourselves, to say the things that we need to say, to reduce the tension that we experience in our relationships. We want to stay in good relationship with people, and we don't want to make assumptions about what we think a person was doing or thinking, or why they said something. And we don't want others to make those assumptions of us as well. So, Father, when we're feeling something in our spirit that doesn't sit right, give us the strength to say what we need to say. Give us the words, create the environment, set the atmosphere so that people will receive what we need to say, or prepare our hearts to receive what others may need to say to us. Let us not just put it all on the other person, that it's their fault, that it's their issue, that it's their problem and not ours. We have responsibility to listen to each other, to show care and concern for each other. So give us the strength and the will to do what we need to do to stay in good relations with people. Father, thank you for this word. Thank you for every person in this chat, for those who'll be watching the replay. And I just ask that you continue to watch over us, keep our minds in a healthy space, a healthy state. We pray over the state of this nation, that as we move into another presidency, that things will be calmer, that you will watch over this nation, watch over our people, watch over all the things that are to come that we don't even know. Prepare us, praying for the people who are dealing with COVID, who are dealing with illness and death on every level. So, Father, we look out for our first responders, all the people out there who are working to keep peace, working to keep calm, working to take care, keep people alive, Lord, in these trying times. We thank you. We love you. We ask these things in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen. All right. So I will see you all. I'll have a tip out tomorrow, and then we'll be back here on Wednesday for another class, L, the letter L. All right. Have a good one, everyone. Y'all take care.